Hello, welcome. Hello, and welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm just going to get this shared out on my socials, and then we're going to get going. I'm going to build a whole new tool here today using a technology that I'm very familiar with, and you've seen me use before, called pyATS from Cisco. And then I'm also going to, and let me just make sure the audio is working. Yeah, okay, good. I'm also going to use a tool called Batfish. Now, Batfish is new to me. It may not be new to you, and it's not that new, but it's an open source tool that does configuration analysis. And the two work very well together, let's say that. So let me just get these tweeted out. Let's build a new network automation tool together, live on YouTube. Okay, so that's been tweeted out. And let me get it on LinkedIn real quick. And this won't take very long. Share a post. And we're going to say, let's make a new network automation tool using Cisco pyATS and Batfish live on YouTube. Streaming, network automation, Cisco, Python, network, let's say configuration management. We're going to say testing, validation. Okay, so that's been shared, and let's get going with the stream, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I am watching the YouTube channel here, so if you want to say hi, let me know where you're from. That would be great. So I'm in my repo. I've just cloned it, and I've added a little bit of update in my README file, and we're going to be using a tool called Batfish. So there's a couple things we're going to need to do. First, I'm going to get Docker. I need Docker, so just give me a second for Docker to initialize. But I'm going to bring up a Docker container image for Batfish. Now let's look at batfish.org, and we'll give you an idea on what we're going to do here. So this is an open source network configuration analysis tool. Finds errors, guarantees correctness of planned or current network configurations, blah, blah, blah. Trusted by all these companies. Lots of great stuff on here to get you started with Batfish. And it took me a little bit to get started and figure it out, but we're ready to go. So there's a couple things. We're going to have Batfish as a container. Okay, my Docker container is up and running. Let me flush my images. And let's try this in a different Ubuntu window. Let's get the Batfish up. So we're going to pull the image, and then we're going to bring it up. And it should be running and listening on several ports. And we'll test that before we get started. So let me Docker run that and bring that up. And there's Batfish as a container. It's in use. If I go to my containers, there's Batfish listening on 8888. Why isn't that long? Sorry, everything locked up here. Sorry, everything locked up there. So let's see if it's listening on those other ports. So we brought it up and it should be on 8888, and that had a weird screen and locked everything up. Let's try 977 and 996. So let's do that in Chrome. And it's 9. Geez, I should have remembered that. 99979996. Okay, good. And 6. Good. Okay. So we have Batfish listening on those ports. Now what you're looking at here is the Batfish documentation for pyBatfish. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to import some stuff, set up a session, and then ask it some questions. But we're not quite there yet. We need to get the configuration first. But I wanted to get Batfish up and running. So what we're going to do next is make a few files. We're going to make a testbed.yaml file and a new file called yatfish job.py and a new file called yatfish.py. Now I'm going to steal some of my working code just to accelerate this development. So let me go into I know the repo that I want. Give me 2 seconds to find the repo. And I'm just going to steal some code here. I'm going to steal the test bed in particular. And we need the one device. And we'll update that in a second. And then I also want the job file, since the job files are universal. And we'll edit that. All right, so I'm done with that for now. And let's go into the code. So for the test bed, I'm loading, this is just called testbed.yaml. Sorry, testbed.yaml. And here I'm running yatfish, the Python script. Oh, hey, Steven. Thanks for joining, man. Yeah, this is really interesting stuff. I hope this all works. I believe it should. Thanks for joining. This is pretty exciting. So the Batfish container's up. This is my pyATS job file, the file I'm going to run as a pyATS job. And now we're going to have to write, oh, and I have to update this. So this all looks good, actually. But the IP address is 10.10.20.48. So my test bed is good. And my job file is good. I need to make a virtual environment still, and now I need to bring in some code. So if you'll bear with me here, what I'm going to do is actually just take it from the documentation. So I'm going to take this, and I also want JSON and maybe OS. I don't know if I'm going to need OS or not. We'll just bring it in for now just in case. And then my pyATS code that I need. And to steal from... Oh, I should have stayed in there. Let's just see what I need for pyATS. I'm not going to be doing any diffs, am I? No, probably not. So just those two. Yeah, just those two things from pyATS. Okay, so that'll get me started. And let's save that. And now what I need to do first is my pyATS code. So again, I'm going to steal from this code just a little bit. I'm just going to take the whole thing for now. And I'll go over it. Don't worry about it. I'm just using it as a template to accelerate this. So we don't need, yeah, this is a fairly big file. Give me 2 seconds to clean it up. Get rid of these old tests that don't apply. Okay, we'll go to there. Okay, so what I have in here is a pretty standard, oh right, and I don't need this. A pretty standard pyATS, and I need import logging. Right, okay. All right, so we have a common setup where we connect to the testbed devices, and then we have a loop here, and I need to get rid of this in case I have more than one device. And what we're going to call this is, let's call it Batfish running config evaluation. Actually, what I should just call it is yatfish. Let's do that. All right, so we're going to loop over this in case there's multiple devices in the test bed. For this case, it'll just be one. If this works out well and I have time, I might spin up another sandbox while we're streaming and get a CML environment with multiple devices to try this out as a tool, but we'll cross that bridge later. So in each loop, I want self.device to equal the current iteration. And what we're going to do here is say raw running config, and we're going to change this to get running config equals self.device.execute show run. So I have a raw show run in here. We don't need anything to do with JSON yet. So we have the raw config. Now, we need a few folders for Batfish to operate on because there's some standard folders. So we're going to make a new folder here called snapshot. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Where is that folder? I'm just not sure. Just give me 2 seconds here. Actually, I know where to find it. Two seconds. I just need to confirm. All right, I see it. So snapshot, and then within snapshot, and this is very important, another folder called configs, I believe. Yes, configs. All right, so that's our folder structure, and then we're going to make a new folder called output. All right, so what we're going to do is make a couple of variables at the top here. We'll just call this Batfish variables. And this is going to be snapshot path equals ./snapshot. And then output dir equals ./output. All right, so we have these folders. And what we're going to do is make a new function here called save, and let's make that self save running config, and we're going to save this to a file with open an F. Do we need an F string here? Yeah. F string snapshot path /configs, and then what we'll use is self.device.alias. Actually, let me change the alias then here to be the actual name of the device. That doesn't matter, but for this case, I'd like it to be the same. So self.device.alias.cfg. So it needs to be a CFG file. As fh, and then fh.write, and we're going to write the self raw running config, and then we're going to close this. So we should run this as it is and see if we get the running config. It might be a good time to check in. It's also a good time for any questions, if anybody has any questions or comments so far. So let's see if we get the raw show run into a .cfg file inside the snapshot config folder. So we haven't set up our virtual environment yet. So we're going to do a new terminal and we're going to say Python 3 and let's call this pyATS Batfish. No, sorry, excuse me. Python 3 mvenv pyATS Batfish. And we're going to activate that, saying source pyATS Batfish bin activate. Go back into yatfish. Oh, I'm already in yatfish. All right, so then pip install pyATS full. We need pyATS full. Save running config, does it need to be in a decorator? Oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's put that inside of a decorator so that it shows up as a test. Good catch. All right, pyATS is installing. Now the other thing is, Batfish takes a long time to install, and you're gonna have to bear with me here. I should have maybe done something else in the meantime while it installs, but what we're gonna do is say, oh, I have all these changes because I did this in my Git repo. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I knew I should have gone to root when I did that. So cd yatfish. I have my virtual environment. So rm rf pyATS Batfish. And I should have made it here. Sorry, excuse me everyone. I'm excited. And I should have made that at root. So that was a mistake of mine. I made it inside of the folder. So what I need to do here is that's better. Okay, excuse me about that. All right, so source pyATS bin activate. Now I go back into that folder. Sorry, that was my mistake. And here we can pip install pyATS square brackets full. Do this again, my mistake. And again, like I said, both pyATS, this takes a long time. Wait till you see at least inside of a Docker container, the Batfish takes a long time to start up. It has a wheel it has to create. We're just gonna have to bear through that. But we haven't crossed that bridge yet. Well, I'll need to pip install it because I'm importing it. So here we go. Pip install pyBatfish. And we just sort of hang out here and wait for this to build the wheel requirements. This will take a little bit of time. And then we should be able to run this code. And what we're expecting is inside this configs folder, the raw show run from the device. And I don't want to sit here silent. I should have actually done this while I was writing the code above. We're just going to have to hang tight while this builds the wheel for Podman containers. Yeah, okay, there we go. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Could not build wheel for pandas, which is required. Well, that's not good. Likely not a problem with pip. Of course, in my container I don't have this problem. I've never encountered this. Did it get through? Doesn't look like it installed. Batfish. And it takes so long to build. This is unfortunate. All I'm doing is well, let's try using this way. Let's see if I get any further. That's really unfortunate. And maybe I need to install pandas separately ahead of it. What's the error? Let's see what if we can find anything while it's building that. While it's building the wheel. This sucks. Pandas doesn't ship with maybe I need to install pandas first. Let's see. I thought it installed pandas. Here's the pandas. Okay, so what happened here? Any luck? No, same problem. Let's install pandas first. Now it works fine in my containerized environment. Okay, now let's try it. I successfully installed NumPy pandas 2, although this is using cache pandas 115. So I'm not sure here what my issue is. I might not be able to write this code. This is really unfortunate. And I don't know why. Any other suggestions in here? Yeah, I am importing pandas. Pandas wheel. I'm at a standstill here. Let's see. I seem to have hit this problem before. I've already used, yeah, I already have. I think I already have that installed. Yeah, already installed. Already installed dev. And this is a fresh build of Ubuntu, so maybe this is something I've already done in the past. Oh, unfortunate. This is I'm sorry everyone. When I do this, I could show you the code, but I just do a pip install pandas, I think, in my my other code. Let me take a look while this is, sorry, that was Postman. I don't want Postman. I've installed Batfish. That's all I do. And that's inside of an Ubuntu container. So I don't know why in my WSL Ubuntu I can't pip install. Come on. I mean, I suppose I could do this as a container and do it that way. Problem is with the container, I mean, let me just do it as a container. That's fine. So I don't need this virtual environment. And let me take down this Batfish. I'm going to do this differently. I'll come back to that. Okay, so what I'm going to need then is a new folder called Docker and a new file called Docker file. And is that it? And probably a script. I'm going to have to cheat again and steal some of my old code. I think the script is okay. Well, I'll have to build on the script. That really sucks. Let me try to do a plan B and see if I can build this as a Docker, which might be easier for people to use anyway. Yeah, I've got Python dev and build essentials installed. So I'm just going to steal from some existing code here, and I'll strip it down into what we need. So that's my Docker file. And then I do have a startup script. Now what does my startup script do? Precisely. I'm going to need it to run the pyATS job. Okay, so I need a scripts folder. And a new file called startup. Is it .sh? Yeah, all right. Change directory. All right, so then in the Docker file, what we're going to need is, that's fine. I don't think I need to copy anything. I need the script. I need these files. So let me make a new folder here and just call this yatfish. Put these files in there. And we're going to change that to yatfish. Alright, I don't need DOS to Unix. I do need pyBatfish. And again, this takes a while inside of the container to run. I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that. pyATS full I do need. I need pip, OpenSSH, yeah, I need those. Sudo, I don't need any of this Django stuff. Alright, so that should do that. Now for my Docker, Docker compose, excuse me, .yaml. We're going to just take all of this for now. I don't think I need that anymore. So in my compose, I don't need Heimdall. I don't need PG admin. I can actually take that out of my other repo too. So I need Batfish. I don't have a database, but I depend on Batfish. I don't have any ports, and I'm going to push this to yatfish. All right, so that should really do it. That should bring it up. Now my script, I need to write and say cd yatfish and then say pyATS run job. Yatfish underscore job dot py. Let's try it. Let's roll the dice. Right, so I'm going to say docker build tags of John, capital Yoko, yatfish with a file of docker file dot no cache. Well, this will save me trouble with my README file. You know, all people I'll have to do now in theory is, you know, update the testbed file and then build it and compose it, right? So pyATS does take a minute, and then the wheel for Batfish takes forever. And we're not quite finished. So while that builds, let's get our next build ready, just assuming this is going to work. So our next step, now that we have running config in that snapshots folder, we're ready to start working with Batfish. So we're going to say establish, establish session. And this is going to say bf equals session host equals Batfish, the container. And then what we're going to do is load our snapshot, which is bf.init snapshot, and then the path, snapshot path. And what we're going to say is overwrite equals true. Init snapshot. And then we're going to start asking it questions. All right, and I'll show you this before we get going here. If we go to Batfish questions, there's a whole page of questions here. And there's different questions, and this is the latest documentation. So there's config properties, which is what we're going to focus on. But there are other questions, lots and lots of other questions, even differentials, which we might get into. But if we go to configuration questions, there's all these questions. So we're going to ask it node properties and interface properties. Note, we could ask it all these other properties, but this sandbox doesn't have very much in it. So we're going to do node and interface properties. Okay, and if we look at these, it's very easy. And I'm actually going to copy this. So let's do the node properties first, right? And what we say here is define node properties. And we're going to paste that in and say result equals bf. Oh, I see, I'm not passing that. Let's do self.bf. .q, node properties, questions, and then frame. And we get a data frame back, a pandas frame back. So what we can do is we could just print that frame, but instead what we're going to do, and we're going to say self.nodeResult save node results. What we can do now with this self.nodeResult is manipulate it as a data frame. And I'm going to show you that. If we go here and go data frame to CSV, see there's this whole pandas data frames. Look at all the things we can convert it to. So we're going to do to CSV for sure, and we can do it to JSON as well. So let's do CSV and JSON. All right, so what we're going to say here is node result dot to CSV and then an output dir and what we're going to call this is node properties dot CSV. Oh, hang on, I got that wrong. And then what we're going to do is copy this same thing. Oh, I'm doing this in the wrong spot. But we're going to send it to JSON. And I don't know if should it be a JSON dump or let's just do it to .json for now. We'll get this to work, and then what we can do is maybe do a JSON dump of that and get it with nice structured formatting. And I'm importing JSON. So we're going to save that. And as you can see, the wheel is still building. So it takes, I think, 380 seconds to build. So unfortunately, we're going to have to do this a second time with our new test built in. Now, I also don't want to go too fast, too far. There is another test I want to do, interface tests. So sadly, we're going to have to sit through this build time a few times while we iron this out. But that's only because we're doing this in a container. So we have node properties, and we'll probably do interface properties as well. So those are the two we'll likely do today, and then we'll see how far we get this. So my container is going to have that. It's going to run the pyATS job. So I have to push this and then bring it up. Hey, Danny. Well, I hope to show the demo. I really do hope that this works. I've hit a wrinkle where I couldn't pip install pyBatfish into my Ubuntu WSL environment. Not quite sure what's going on there. But inside of the container, as you can see, it's building the wheel for the pandas. So this container is going to have my pyATS job, my Python script, and my test bed, as well as a startup script to run it when I turn on the container. And we'll see how far. I need DOS to Unix in my Docker file. Sorry, I missed something, and I apologize. We're going to have to rebuild it. Let's aim for the stars here, since I got to recompile it, and we'll add the interface tests in right away. I can't believe I forgot that. I forgot I needed that. So what I forgot here is this little DOS to Unix, which lets me run my startup script. So I need a couple of things here. Okay, I see DOS to Unix right there. Sorry. Now, what did I want to do? Interface test. So basically, we're going to copy this same thing here. And we're going to change that to interface properties. Now you can get just the answer, but I like getting the frame back because then we can work with it. So this is actually going to be called interface result. I should rename all this stuff. Interface properties. Save interface results. Interface properties. Interface properties. All right. So that should work. Let's recompile. And now I'm going to have to use my Docker Explorer to look at the output of these files, which is fine. But let's see if this works. And again, you have to bear with me. It does take that 380 seconds to compile the Batfish wheel. So we're just going to have to hang out. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. But in terms of what's happening here, in case you're joining late, what we're using is a pyATS job. And we connect to the test bed, which in this case just has a single device. And then I loop over every device in the test bed. In this case, it'll just be one with the particular function, the class I want to run. Line 87. Interface. Thank you. I'm not going to recompile. I'm going to let it run. But thank you. That file is going to be misnamed. But now it will be fine. Thank you, Danny. So then we tag self.device as a variable per loop through each device so we can identify the unique individual device. We're going to get the raw running config by using self.device.execute show run, pyATS function here. Save that into a specific folder, snapshot configs, which is where Batfish is going to look for the config file when we establish our session to Batfish and initialize our snapshot. Then we're going to ask questions, BFQs, node properties and interface properties, and finally use the pandas, because this is a data frame, to CSV and to JSON. Now the to JSON, I may change that to be a JSON dump with indentation 4 and sort keys true. I gotta see if I can do that, but we'll do that on the next pass. Now while that builds, there is lots and lots more we can do with Batfish. Look at all these properties and questions. Now if I had OSPF in my config, I would ask it for OSPF information. Right, OSPF interface configuration, but I don't have OSPF. So, or BGP or VLAN properties. I mean, I may be able to add a VLAN to this device and then retest it. I'm pretty sure I could do that. Now there's unused structures, defined but not used. So that might be a good test. Do I have any unused structures? And if that comes back empty, then I know it can pass the test if I were to test it with pyATS. Or undefined references, configurations that have references to structures that are not defined, right? Serious errors. So I could ping for undefined references, unused structures. Then if pyATS follows up loading the dictionary, seeing if anything is true in either of those, and then fail the test that this is not a valid config. Remember, I'm just getting the answers back from Batfish right now. We may want to follow up the Batfish answers with pyATS tests against those answers to do Boolean pass-fail before we say yes or no, this is a good config. Okay. Still loading. don't want conflicting Batfish images. So that's why I just cleaned that up and got rid of those containers. Because this is going to bring up, remember my Docker Compose is going to bring up this yatfish container, which depends on Batfish, and Batfish is going to listen on these ports. And then I make the session using pyBatfish programmatically by using this session from pyBatfish client sessions. I'm then asking the questions from the data model and getting answers back. I haven't played with flows yet. I haven't done a full topology yet. Apparently you can do like load multiple configs or the state of multiple devices in and say, you know, what would the impact be if I removed this route? Or what would the impact be if this configuration changed? I don't know. There's lots left to do. I just wanted to share this with everyone now that I got it working. We'll see if we have it working. I'm pretty confident that this will be okay. I don't see any mistakes here. Run pyATS, run job, yatfish. Okay. And I'm copying in yatfish with my 3 files and my scripts. DOS to Unix my script. And then run my startup script, which runs my pyATS code. Should work. Let's see. I know this is a very painful process. I know. I appreciate you sticking around and watching. Yeah, I'm going to have to dig into the wheel issue. I'd love to be able to run pyBatfish just as part of my toolkit. But if I can't get a pip installed, I don't. And maybe I could do it in Windows instead of Ubuntu. I don't know that it's a Linux only command. I should look into that on pyBatfish and see if it's just Linux or if we can run this in a Windows virtual Python environment. That'd be interesting to know. But then I couldn't use pyATS, so that's sort of a dead end for me. Let's try the container way. I know it works. In my other project that led me to do this, I can't really share too much about my other project, but it is working this way as a Docker Compose with another container that I've built talking to it. WSL's been solid, but it gave me some heartache this week. I randomly clicked, like here there was an extension update, and it was WSL, and I just clicked update, and it like trashed everything, my Ubuntu, everything. Okay, so exporting layers. This is a very good sign. Okay, so now I have to Docker push this to my repository. Did I not just name it? Oh, I got a typo there. Can you rename a container? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm terribly sorry. Because that won't let me push because it doesn't match my Docker repository name. We're just going to have to sit through it one more time. So here's what I recommend you do. Go get a cup of coffee, a beer, a drink of water. We're going to let this build. I'll be back in the 5 or 6 minutes it takes to build. Don't go too far. I will be back. Okay, it's kicked off the wheel build. Yeah, I'll be back. I should have a little, the old school TV, you know, the cards they used to put up when the signal went out on TV station. Okay, here we go. Building wheel for Panda started. 72 seconds. We still got a couple minutes to wait here, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Lots of people interested in this Batfish. It's turned into a Docker, a Docker app, which is fine. Maybe that's better. You know, there's less to pip install and worry about. This will work universally on any system if we can get it up and going. I'm just combing over anything. pyATS run job, right? Do I have any? pyATS run job path to file. Yeah, pyATS run job path to file. Okay. And then my job file. So as long as this gets copied into the container and it looks okay. I'm sorry, everybody. This is a bit of a downer. I know. We got better things to do on an afternoon than watch things compile, but that's sort of the way it is right now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Docker VS Code extension to go into the output and snapshot folders to look at the output. Now I could mount a volume maybe so that they're available externally. I don't know that it's a local processor thing. I have a pretty good processor. It's just, you know, it's building the wheel for pandas. I don't know if there's any way to make that faster. Right? Takes forever. Upgrade pip. I don't know about that. Takes a long time. See, a lot of people are complaining about this. Why does it take ages to install pandas? Well, so a good question, Patrick. So I have Batfish running as a container, the Batfish itself for my Docker Compose. Right, I'm going to bring up that Batfish image. But then to programmatically interact with that container, I'm using pyBatfish in my Python script to establish a session with that container. Now, if your company had a centralized Batfish server, right, that they ran that container and made it available through DNS or something, this session line, in my case, it's just Batfish because that's the name of the container in my Docker Compose, container named Batfish, right? So I'm not building really anything from scratch. All I'm doing is I'm using pyATS to get a running config, saving it as a snapshot in the right folder that Batfish can read it, and then asking the questions. We're pretty close. I appreciate everyone's patience. Maybe 60 seconds away from this being up, and then I have to Docker push it, and then Docker Compose up and bring up the containers, and we'll see if I get any errors or what happens from here. It's getting a little late in the afternoon too. I know this stream's been going on a while, so I appreciate your patience. Wasn't expecting the pyBatfish problem. I knew that this was going to take a long time, but I thought I'd be doing it locally instead of in the Docker. So I don't know. If anyone knows how to make this faster or why this takes so long, I would love to know. Or why I was getting the original WSL error with pandas. I saw someone mention something about 32-bit or 64-bit. I don't know. I do have a 64-bit OS. Okay, that's done. And here we go. And it ran the script exporting layers. Okay, good. All right. So now I should be able to docker push John Capobianco yatfish. There we go. That's better. I'm going to delete the local image so it doesn't come up. All right, so that's going to push that to my Docker repository on Docker Hub. And then we're going to Docker compose up and see if we can get these two containers up and actually run this code. Thank goodness for the high-speed internet, the gigabit internet. Docker compose up. So it's pulling Batfish. Okay, look, there's the pyATS job. Awesome. Okay, so I got some errors here. Okay, so I have some errors, but I did get the pyATS job to run. So my container work is fine. It looks like we're on no such path or directory. Actually, let me bring that back up. So I didn't say, so saving it, no such directory .snapshot / configs. I have snapshot.configs right there. Is it because I didn't copy those folders in my Docker file? Was I stupid? Possibly. Now that should copy /configs too, right? Or should I do the full absolute path here? I'm sorry, everyone. I didn't put the folders inside of the container to store the output. So I'm going to rebuild it. I'm going to scrub this container and delete those volumes. But that did work, everyone. So my approach is fine. I just didn't put the output folders in. So let me nuke that because that's a bad image. But we're really close. And you can see how easy it is to put pyATS into a Docker container. So this is going to build a couple minutes. If you need to walk away or take a break, it's not a bad time to do so. I may do so again, just to stretch my legs, and while this takes time. But if you have questions, if you want to say hello, if you want to let me know where you are in the world, if you have any projects of your own or anything at all, I'd love to see it in the chat. I'm watching the chat. So let me know where you're coming in from in the world. This will work. I really feel good that this attempt will work, this compilation, this version of the code. I just missed putting the output folders in. But let's see. And again, unfortunately, pyATS takes a minute to install, and Batfish takes 5 or 6 minutes to install. So I can see people dropping off. I know this isn't exciting, but this will work. Come back. Go get a soda. This will work. Pretty excited about this. And then I'll release this into the wild as an open source utility, and I'll show you how exciting this is really going to be. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. And let's just let that compile on the screen here. I'm pretty sure that was it, is that I just didn't copy in the output folder and the configs folder structure. I know. Sorry about the silence. I will be stepping away for just a second while this thing builds. And you know what I hate? I hate these SEO digital marketing people on LinkedIn, man. I tell you, I post anything on there, and I get 5 or 6 posts about how they could help me grow my YouTube following. Anyhow, I know a lot of people are dropping because this is kind of boring watching this compile. You've got 200, 300 more seconds before it's done, and then we're going to see this work. I'm pretty sure we will. I'll be right back. Oh, hey, that's awesome, Stephen. Your PCAP exam. Good luck on that. Good luck on that exam. Yeah, that would be neat. Netbox with Batfish would be very cool. I think there's some examples possibly on batfish.org about that. If you're working with Netbox, I have a repo. While we're waiting for this, I'll show it if you're still there. Under my GitHub account called Gift Wrap, or Netbox Gift Wrap, that turns the Netbox APIs into various file types. And there's all the APIs that I cover. Turns them into CSV files and all kinds of different files. JSON files, Markdown files, MP3 files, you name it. So it's called the Netbox Gift Wrap. You can just pip install it and away you go. So that's been deleted there. Still building. We're really close, everyone. I appreciate everyone who did stick around through all this. We were up to about 16 people watching the stream. We're down to about 4, but that's fine. I don't. The replays will get lots of views too. So if you're stuck around, this next compilation should work. Pretty sure it did. I know the Python script ran, or the pyATS job. Okay, the wheel is built. A couple more steps here. Copied in those folders, which is good. And exporting to layers. All right, so now we're going to push it. I'm going to scrub the local copy. Yeah, you're going to love them. You're going to love that gift wrap. It's excellent. Okay, so it's pushing, and then we'll Docker compose up. We'll watch the script run, and I really hope we get a session against. I should have actually looked in the logs. Is it too late? So we did get a session. So it's going to work, everyone. I should have thought of that. Just because the snapshot folder wasn't there. My session passed. So we're getting a real session. This is going to work, everybody. Don't doubt me just because I have a couple errors along the way. So that's going to come up. And we're going to watch it run in the console here. Still errors. Why? There's no path. Hang on. So let me go into the container browser. How can there not be a path? So I don't want Batfish. I want my container. Is there any time for me to actually bring up the container? I need to get into the container. There's snapshot configs right there. Yatfish. Okay, so why not? It is bringing them in. It's just not, it's something stupid. I'm just not saving them properly in the right path. No such file or directory. .snapshot/configs. Yeah, it's running. Here it is here. I see the folder. Okay, so, and there's my show run, but why isn't it saving it into that path? .snapshot/configs. I have a snapshot.configs. I mean, I guess I could move that into the folder itself and change that script from dot. Like snapshots in the same folder, right? Output's in the same folder. And if I copy the yatfish folder, I need those other folders. So I have to update my Docker file. Oh, just remove the period but leave it the way it was? I can try that. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the chat. And I need those folders. In here. So just like that. Oh, and we gotta do this all over again. Okay, unfortunately, that's the way it is. Okay, let's see here. It is just a pathing issue. I had the dot because I know why. It's because in my other code, my playbooks are actually at root. They're not in a folder. So that's what's going on here. I don't want, why did that launch? Okay. So we have time. We've got a few more minutes here, everybody. And hopefully that pathing issue will sort out my copy, and then we'll be able to get the analysis done. The good news is, I'll show you again, even in my logs here, established session is passing. Right? These are all erroring because they're not finding the config file. And this save config was it's just a pathing issue. So we're very, very close. Unfortunately, this does take so long to compile, but we're right there. We're right on the cusp of getting this working. And we're into the wheel build. So 380 seconds or so. I'm just looking at snapshot input as opposed to configuration properties. Maybe I should add some of these file parse status. So that's, I'm a little concerned because I'm giving it a show run that it comes with the building config and the current configuration. So I'm a little, we'll have to see if it's how it handles it. Let's just say that. Pretty sure it's pretty good at handling it. Yeah, Ed, that's right. It is flexible enough to do lots of great things. It is just a matter of passing data around. And if Aruba's got, APIs, you can use those just as well as inputs for pyATS. It doesn't necessarily have to be Cisco CLI data. Okay, about halfway there. I'm really neat though that we got the Docker up and running, and that at least it's firing the pyATS. The pyATS is working. Our connection to Batfish is working. We're really on the cusp of it. It's just honestly the simplest thing, the file pathing issue. So we got rid of the dot, so it should just look at root. Okay. Oh, is there anything I can add to the README while we're waiting here? I guess that's just update your testbed file with your devices. Build and Docker compose up. Right, I think that's all I need to really add. Oh, what happened? Where did my README even go? I don't even have one. Combining Cisco pyATS and Batfish for automated network running configuration analysis. Steps 1. Update the testbed.yaml to reflect your topology of devices. 2. Docker build your Docker handle / yatfish file docker file dot no cache docker push your handle yatfish docker compose up. I guess the first thing to do should actually be to clone the repository, right? Clone the repository. Requirements, Docker desktop for Windows. ESL2 Ubuntu and Docker desktop for Windows. Or any Linux environment with Docker. Alright. README file is done. And okay, here we go. All right, pretty close. So I'm going to push this. Come on. Okay, let's bring it up and we'll watch the pyATS job run. Fingers crossed, everyone, that we just needed to remove the path, the dot from the path. And let's see if we get some Batfish analysis, and then I'll use the Docker Explorer to show you what's happened. No, same error here. Okay, just hang on. Yeah, it didn't save it. So it's not just the dot in the pathing here, unfortunately. I mean, I could put, like I said, I could put them maybe into the same folder here. And then the path would just be snapshot, no? And output. Since they're in the same folder, I believe. And that should copy even the subfolders, no? I don't think I need this at all. I think I'm going to get my subfolders that way. Well, we'll find out. Ah, what a stupid thing. Pathing, file pathing. Always fun with Linux and containers. So I just dropped them into the same folder. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm trying to catch it while it's still up and running. But we gotta wait for this build process to happen one more time. Oh, maybe. I didn't think of permissions. I'm not setting any permissions on these folders. But let's try it if it's, yeah, maybe I get a different error if it's permissions, but I've dropped them right into the same folder as the Python script itself. So hopefully it just finds snapshot/configs being local. Because it doesn't have to be a root folder, by the way. So we'll see. We'll know in this last build. If this build doesn't happen, I might have to get going. This is taking a little longer than expected. Maybe tomorrow If I iron this out, I could redo a stream with it working, but I'd really like it to work this time. We know we're talking to Batfish. We know we have the show run. It's just stupid pathing inside of the container, or we can't save the file. Do I have another containerized project where I'm saving files? Probably. No, there's no output folders, is there? No. No, I'm not saving files. Right, it's all database driven in that one. I don't think I have any container driven stuff that saves files. Do I? No, I don't think so. Anyway, we're pretty close here. Drop it right in the same folder and make our lives easier. Well, thanks for hanging in there, everybody. We're pretty close. Yeah, Patrick, it'll be on my GitHub. I'll push it as soon as I have a working build. It'll be on my, it's Automate Your Network is the GitHub repository, and it's under yatfish is the name of the repository. I'll be sharing that. As soon as this works, I'll push it up into the repository, no problem. And then anybody is free to use it. I'm using the DevNet sandbox, so you don't even have to change the testbed file at all. If you spin up a CSR 1000V sandbox, you could use this code as is. So we're pretty close here. Well, not quite. Another 100 seconds or so. I just want to see if I'm missing anything cool about this pandas. So we could do it to JSON. I'm not sure. Is that going to be a dictionary? I assume so. So we're going to get a dictionary, and we're going to get the CSV file, which I've seen. We could even do it to Markdown. That's cool. Or HTML, and get an HTML page of the data. So I assume that gives us a table. Oh, I should have saved that. Well, let's get this working, but I may add the to HTML here too, and get a web page of the test results back. I should have done that too. Oh well, I'll do that next build. In my here in this section here of the to files. We could have done to HTML as well. Let's add it for my next build. 60 seconds. One more minute. Plus my push, plus the Docker Compose up. So 2-3 minutes. We're getting close, everyone. I appreciate you joining me this Saturday afternoon. Let me know where you're joining from the world. Say hi in the chat. I am watching the chat. I'm interacting with the chat. Let me know where you're coming from. I'm just outside of Ottawa, Canada. And I once I got Batfish working and I heard about some people's struggles getting it working, I thought I would try to write something that was pretty easy for people to get going. And hopefully this is it in conjunction with pyATS. So it's going to run the show run command, save that as a snapshot, and then ask pyBatfish to interrogate it, or Batfish to interrogate it via pyBatfish. Wow, that's a mouthful. So the only thing that hasn't worked so far is the stupid path to saving the files, but we think we've overcome that by making the folders local. Oh wow, hi. Okay, so Docker push. Tonight, I'm going to be doing this just for a little bit longer. Tonight I'm going to take a bit of a break. I've been very busy today with getting our power back. We had a lot to take care of. Empty out the fridge and take out a bunch of garbage and go back to the grocery store. So tonight I'll probably watch some movies or some TV with my wife. But I want to get this working. We're really close. We've got 7 people watching. Thanks for joining, everybody. And now we can bring it up. And let's see if making it local has helped. Here we go. Come on. Please just work with the right path. South African, that's very cool. Thanks for joining. And Germany, that's really cool too. All right, here we go. It's going to fire up the container. And fire off that pyATS script. Okay, there it goes. So it didn't like that, but it does look like it's looking at root snapshot configs. Yeah, we're going to try this one more time. And if not, then I'll have to look into pathing with Docker, but I'm pretty sure this one will work. I put the path just to say, anyway, we'll see. We'll try this one more time this way. Sorry, it's all freezing up. It's really slow when I'm building. Yeah, I could do path lib or something, I guess, and then specify the absolute path. Let's just try this one more time, everyone. So what I've done is I've moved these back to root because it did look like it was looking at root that time. Here. Snapshot config. That should be root at snapshot config. So let's try it again. And that's just by saying snapshot without any slash or without any dot here. Based on this path here. Otherwise, I guess I would have to put yatfish in front of it here for it to look inside of the folder. Ooh, Espresso. I could do a stream on Espresso. There is a sandbox for Espresso, Alexander. It's a little heavy for me to run on my own computer, but I could use the sandbox. Now, I don't know how easy it is for me to upload my own Docker images or containers to Espresso's sandbox. I don't know if the sandbox has internet connectivity, but I could look and see what the Espresso sandbox offers and maybe do a stream on that. Good, that's a good question. And for anyone asking what he's talking about, pyATS is, so I'm using Docker, but we could use Espresso, which has its own dashboard and scheduling system to so here's the Espresso if you wanted to run it. Now it does, maybe I could run it. I could try it. I have a new computer, a newish computer. I could try to run it locally. Let me try that. Maybe I'll add that to my list of things. But it has a dashboard for me to schedule pyATS jobs and things like that. So this thing I'm running now, if I got it working, we could schedule it and watch the results and stuff through Espresso if I ever get the stupid file path working. Let's just try snapshot and output, and if that doesn't work, although in my other code it was .snapshot, and that is a container. The only difference is that I have these in a folder. Let's try this. And if this doesn't work, I'll move these back to root, change it back to ./snapshot, and in my Docker file, I'll change it from copying yatfish with my 3 files to each file individually, copying them in. Although this works pretty good. It's just a Linux pathing issue is all it is. Which is tedious because this takes a long time to build and it kind of makes me look a little foolish. And so yeah, for anyone who missed the start of the stream, we're connecting to each device in the test bed, running show run, saving that show run, and this is where we're having a hiccup, into this specific path as a .cfg file, connecting to Batfish, and then initializing the snapshot with Batfish, and then asking it node properties and interface properties questions known as bf.queues, and then saving the output of those questions into various file types as a data frame. So that's sort of the recap there. /snapshot, yeah, I could try that as well, to move up a directory into snapshot. That's likely what the correct one is, to be honest with you. Let's try this. But if this doesn't work, we'll add /snapshot. Thank you, Barak. Another 80 seconds, 90 seconds. Yeah, we'll see. This might not work, but / sounds like a reasonable approach. Okay, let's give the wheel a spin. Almost there, everybody. This will be, let's see if this one goes. And let's bring them up, and then watch the pyATS job kick off. Here we go. Come on, be the right path. No, it is .. Let's do that. All right, so we're going to go .. when you move up a folder to snapshots, because we're running this from inside of the yatfish folder. So this should say move up a directory into snapshot or output. So yeah, that's going to work, and it's going to make me feel pretty silly, but it should work. And then we'll get our analysis. We're pretty close. Still got 8 people hanging in there. Not a bad time to go for a stretch, because this is going to take 5 or 6 minutes to build. Now let's show you some articles from batfish.org while we're waiting for that to go. And one thing to mention is that there's this new thing called IntentionNet. So let's look at that real quick. And it's right, it's like Batfish Enterprise. It's a paid version of this, or a supported version. They were bought by AWS, right? So it's a popular tool. There's lots of people out here that are using the tool in a variety of ways. So this is the new IntentionNet Batfish Enterprise. Right, so we have Batfish Enterprise, ingest data, get notified, analyze network and devices. Pretty interesting stuff. Now I am just using the open source tool, and the open source tool has there's this great video getting started. I have to point out that Rick Donato has been a big help. He gave me some pointers and gave me a little bit of help when I was struggling a bit. He has some great content on network to code. And there's, blogs from Network to Code, blogs from Julio Perez, who's just awesome too. Lots of great names associated with this project, right? So I do realize that it takes a while to build, and we're almost, we're about 300 seconds away or 5 minutes away. So once that's done, I really hope our pathing issue is sorted out and we can actually get the analysis and I can start showing you the output and wrap up today's stream. Taking me a little longer to get there than I thought. Once we had to introduce Docker, I knew this was going to happen, but the difference is if I did it with my own pip install, I would only need to do that once, as opposed to every single time I build the Docker container, I have to go through this. So it's added a ton of time to this stream, I understand, and kind of boredom and downtime. I wasn't expecting to have to use Docker today. I got a weird WSL issue, and we could maybe look at that while this is going on in the background. Pip install pyATS. And it just bombs. It throws some error about some x86 library. Yeah, I suppose I could use the cache add. I just need to rebuild the Python layer each time, technically, I suppose. I don't know. It's just the way I do it, I suppose. I know there's much better, more efficient ways to develop with Docker. I just haven't done it in a long time. I've only, in the last month, let's say, started doing Django with Docker again. And yeah, I need to start taking advantage of cache. That's absolutely correct. See, it just crashes here with this x84 Linux GNU GCC. So I could keep troubleshooting this as an aside if I don't want this to be a Django project, or a Docker project. No, I don't know. I'll have to mess with that later. I don't have the interest necessarily to fix that right now. All right, so I'm confident, more confident about this build. $60 seconds or so. We're getting there. Okay, here we go. Come on. This is going to be the one. I have a good feeling. And if not, I'm going to have to wrap it up. So let's see here what happens. All right. And I still have to push it and bring it up. It's funny, this Docker push actually, I can hear my computer rev up whenever I do it. It just pumps out the bits. I can hear my fans turn up a little bit when I'm doing this particular Docker push. Almost there. Come on. All right, here we go. Let's see. // should bring it up a folder level from the root of the script and find the output in the scripts folder. That is our working theory this time. So here it comes. I'm just going to connect and run the pyATS job. Hopefully find the stupid folder this time. And if not, I'm giving up for the day. Come on. Here we go. No, it didn't find it. It's not the name of the container. Is that not the name of the container? I don't understand. That's what I just built. Just yatfish? Okay. No. Okay, so we tried dot slash slash dot dot slash. Running out of things here to try. Oh, the container has to be running. Let me bring it up then in a different window. What folder am I in here? Right, so there's my scripts, there's my snapshot configs and output, and this is from running in where? The folder called yatfish. I don't think it runs long enough for me to get into it interactively. Here we go. Okay, yeah, see, it doesn't run long enough. Okay, so it should be dot dot. We just tried that. And my shell script leaves us inside of the yatfish folder. So why doesn't the dot dot work? That's what I'm not quite understanding. I'm inside of yatfish. I've run this job. So it should be dot dot slash from like this. No? Am I wrong? I just did it. I just changed directories into dot dot snapshot. But it didn't. But it clearly doesn't work here. Dot dot snapshot. So I have logs. What did the logs say about the dot dot snapshot? Right, no such file or directory, snapshots / configs. Just like that. I just need to rebuild it. And it crashed again, or it finished. Yeah, see, I have to rebuild it without the cache, otherwise it picks up the... Well, this will be my last one here with just a single slash, but that's what PWD said. This is so silly. I got the hardest part figured out, and I just can't save the files to the path. All right. I'm trying single slash because that is the path, although I'm pretty sure I tried a single slash. Unless when I tried that I was in the wrong folder. single slash, right? Yeah, I should use pathlib. I should do it better. Just poking around some other code for Batfish. This is hilarious. Anyway, it's not really that funny. I should be able to do this pretty easily. I think slash snapshot should work. I mean, that's the root path of it. Come on. Anyway, this will be my last attempt. Thank you for staying with me this afternoon. And if I don't get it working, I'll get it working offline. And then tomorrow I'll share the code once I have it finalized. If this path doesn't work, I'll do something a little bit different, I guess. It's just that there needs to be a snapshot folder with slash configs. So it's just a matter of the right pathing at this point here where I'm saving the file into that path. But they're saying that path doesn't exist, even though when I go into the container, it looks to me like the path is there. We're certainly moving it in with the Docker file, output, and snapshot configs. So I'm a little baffled as to why these attempts haven't worked. Let's try it with slash. I'm just wrapping up here. It's just pushing, and then we'll bring it up for our final attempt of the day. I'm really sorry. I was pretty sure we were going to have this working today. And it looks like we will as soon as we get that stupid pathing sorted out. So hopefully slash works. Although I thought we've tried this. Sort of lost count of all the different ways we've tried it. Okay, here we go. Let's bring it up and let's see what happens. Yeah, Ed, when I was able to shell in, and it's funny, I did CD, snapshots, and it took me in there. Come on. Come on. No red. No, it's going to fail. See, it doesn't know where slash snapshots config is. Even though I bet you it's there. Snapshot configs. This is killing me. Such a stupid thing preventing me from getting this to work. Those should be the local paths to that folder, right? Yeah, Barack, I'm getting file not found error. I'm going to move it into the local folder and do it this way. Let's see if this helps. I don't know. And then truly this is my last attempt if this doesn't work. I don't know why slash or dot slash didn't find it. It works in my other. Hang on, I'm going to stop this build. I'm going to try this a different way. Let me do it this way. I'm pretty sure this will work if I do it the way I'm doing it in my other repo. And while this builds, I'll review the other code and take a look. Now, I'm not doing it this exact way, but I'm pretty sure this is going to work. And then in my code, I do make that dot slash. I'm going to build that. And while I'm building that, I'm going to make sure that's correct. So in this one, I have my scripts in the root folder here. And right, snapshot and output are one folder up in root. Although technically it looks like they're in Brainiac. And my scripts change into Brainiac. So I have output and snapshot. Oh, hang on. My script is wrong. I don't need to change into that anymore because I'm running it from root. Yeah, dot and dot. And they're one folder up. That should work. If not, I don't know. I'm going to lose my mind because it works in my other repo. If they're in root and I'm copying them over. Alright, well, we'll see. This will be my last attempt. And I'm going to take a quick washroom break while this compiles. I suggest you step away, get a drink, come back, and we'll see, hopefully, if this path works. We'll know in a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, still compiling. All right. Thank you again for sticking around. Let's see how this goes. Now, there is a subtle difference. In my other project, I actually have a folder. So, you know, I believe // will bring it up that level. See, I have it as in Brainiac and then output snapshot and then my scripts. So if this doesn't work, maybe I need to go back to a YATS folder with output snapshot, although I think this is the same except I've shifted all up a level. We'll know soon enough, real close to being up and running. Okay, we're coming up here. $60 seconds or so. Yeah, that's the same way I did it. Very strange. Okay, Batfish is done finally, 371 seconds later. Copied all the files over. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. And again, this is my last attempt. I really hope it works. We'll explore the output if it does work very quickly, and then I've got to wrap things up. I've got some family commitments. This has gone on a long time. So let's bring this up. And come on, please, let's have happiness. Let's have good file copy. Come on. As if. Pretty sure that was going to work this time. .snapshot configs. Huh. But I did it the same way. The same way that I did it in my other code. One last try. Oh need to fix my Docker file. I have a folder. I have my output snapshot. I have my script. My script calls .snapshot. My script calls .snapshot. I don't, all right. If this one doesn't get it, I'm gonna have to walk away. I know it's gonna take another 10 minutes to build it, but this really will be my last attempt today. It's just, you don't believe I'm copying correctly, which, well, let me see. No, my copy's fine. No, that should be okay. Here's my other, right, where I just copy in my folders. That should be fine. And then my startup script, right, I move into that folder. Oh, did I change that? Maybe I didn't change that. Good catch. CD yatfish. Okay, this is the one. I feel better about this one. Let's see what happens. Since it's literally exactly the same way I'm doing it in my other folder or my other repository. So instead of me doing it drifting from that, a known working way, let's replicate what I did get working in a different repository. So, let me just do another double check. We have time. We've got, if nothing else, we have time. So we've got a folder structure like that, and then within a folder I have output and snapshot configs. I have my folder, output, snapshot configs. Within that same folder, I have my pyATS job and script. Scripts moves into that folder and runs the job, right? Just like here, scripts moves into the folder. My Output and directory paths are dot slash. My call to ask questions or to initialize is path. And in my Docker file, I just copy in the whole folder. I don't see what I'm doing wrong here. It's exactly the same now, at least. Docker file, I copy in YATS. I've got my script. I've got my folders. Yeah, that's possible, Patrick. If it can get it to stay up long enough, it crashes pretty quickly. I think as soon as the pyATS job finishes, it brings the container down. All right. This has been a lot of wasted time, like an hour of wasted time on this folder thing, but thanks for sticking with me. I have it exactly structured the way my other code is. I have seen no reason why this shouldn't work on this attempt. Give it an entry point? Yeah, okay. I can add that. Like I said, this would be my last attempt. Yeah, that's exactly it. I can bash into it. Good idea. Well, this lets me bash into it, but only as long as the container's up, and then it crashes. So if I could just have it where it's just without kicking off that pyATS job, just run and bash into it. Although bash, I did the cd ... and that seemed to work. So let's just try this. Like I said, it's an exact replica of working code. I appreciate your patience. I know everyone wants to see the Batfish portion of this, which we haven't really seen much of. Okay, another 100 seconds or so. Sorry about this, everybody. I keep apologizing. It's the Canadian in me. I know that. I shouldn't apologize, but I feel like this is a big waste of time, a lot of this rebuilding, when it's just a folder path thing. Now I'm hoping that when it doesn't crash, that the container stays up and running, because I want to be able to explore the output files. Now I guess I could quickly download them from inside the container with VS Code. There's only 2 files to explore, so What I should do is let it cache all of this above here and put something in here like a random number generator. So every time I build it, I can build it from cache and it'll cache all of this, run the random number generator or something, and then not cache this. I'll figure that out. Like I said, today wasn't even supposed to be a Docker demonstration at all. I was sort of forced into it with the with my WSL Ubuntu. All right, come on. Like let's give me some good luck here. It looks exactly like my other code does now. Pretty hopeful. Cautiously optimistic, let's say, that this thing is going to work now. All right, let's see what happens, everybody. This is the last attempt. If it works, we'll explore it a little bit, but then otherwise I've got to go right away. And now I'll resume tomorrow, once I sort out the issues overnight, maybe. All right, here we go. Moment of truth, as they say. And it's exactly like the other repository, and it still fails. Still fails, even though it's exactly like my other code. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't quite. Crazy, 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 crazy. There's my output folder, and I'm in this folder. That's at root, that's at root. But I guess this is running from Django. So where is that running these scripts from? Root? No. It's running it as is here. And I have the dot snapshot dot output. Unbelievable. I don't quite get it, everybody. It's just a pathing thing. I'm not able to save that file because it doesn't think the folder exists. But I'm copying in the folders. Where's this error? So maybe I should just put this path in here. It's running from yatfish / yatfish. So let's do yatfish / snapshot. Yatfish / output. One last roll of the dice here. Well, everything else after this save config bombs because it's looking for the config file that doesn't exist. So there's a ton of errors that we can just ignore because we're not saving this file in order for Batfish to run the questions on it. So this will be it. This is it with the full path of yatfish snapshot, yatfish output. Let's try this, and then I gotta run. Yeah, I'm happy to push the code. I just don't want to push anything that's not working. Suppose I could overwrite it and write this as an initial commit, but we'll try this, and then I've got to go, and I'll work on it later tonight. I really do need to run soon. I'm way over time on this. And then tomorrow I'll make a video and another stream potentially if I actually get it figured out. Okay, so the 5 minutes of Batfish install here. This is no Batfish cheat sheet here. IP owners, that's cool. We can try that if we get this working. VLANs. And maybe we could configure a VLAN. And then these undefined, we can add those. Pretty neat. Here's the docs, right? So as soon as I get this stupid friggin' show run to save properly, we'll be all set. I want to point out these are a little bit dated, this cheat sheet. I wouldn't use this. I would ignore that and go right to the latest documents. These are much better and work a lot better. So we just have to get the, well, I'm doing it a little bit differently than this because I'm using a Docker Compose file, but interacting with the service, this is all working. We do have a session up. It's right here, this snapshot directory thing. I'm just not saving into it properly to load it. And then we start asking our questions, which is what I'm excited about and what this whole stream was supposed to be about. Okay, we're halfway there. Anything else really to say about Batfish? Again, there's pyBatfish, which has, I don't want the legacy docs, I want the latest docs. How to get pyBatfish going, right? They do have some code examples here, by the way. Failure analysis. Okay, we're halfway there. Another couple 100 seconds, and I apologize again. Can't help myself. Almost there. And you know, make sure that you subscribe and like the video if you had fun today. Thank you so much. We're 150 seconds away from hopefully with a hard-coded long path like this. It's in yatfish snapshot. We'll try it, and then I give up. Honestly, I am. For the day, maybe I'll figure out this later when I'm driving around or when I'm sleeping or something, but for now, we're going to try the /yatfish snapshot and yatfish output. Since it did seem to find /yatfish and my Python file. So that did seem to be the path into there. Hopefully that is the path into these two folders. Well, that's great. I seem to have an image that's stuck in Docker. No, there we go. All right. Phantom image. All right, come on. So then I still have to push it and bring it up, and maybe we'll get lucky this one last time. Come on. Might want to let me push it. Anyway, maybe my Docker auth timed out or something. It's always something, right? Okay, so we're pushing it, and then we're going to bring it up, and hopefully the long path to the folder will work. I don't know why. I don't think it will, but let's try it. And then I'm going to wrap it up for the day either way, if it works or if it doesn't work. No, I'll have to figure this out tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I hate to leave it on a sour note, but I just have to figure out this. Oh, there's nothing wrong with pushing the code. I want to make sure that it's all wrapped up nicely working. So I'll figure out this. I'm just going to, but while I still have this thing, I want to see. It should have copied that folder into yatfish, right? There's output and there's snapshot and there's configs. So why isn't it saving the file in there? It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, thanks everybody. And I do have to get going. I just don't quite understand why this thing is not finding these paths. But I'll work